What's going on, friends and family? Thank you guys so much for tuning into Every Day's a Saturday with your host, me, myself, and I, Brian Roof. Hey, guys. Bam. Number 50. We have made it to Big 50. I don't know how, but we got there. And it's kind of crazy. I really did not intend for it to end at 50. It's just the way that it actually played out because I thought about, hey, you know what? Why not I just kind of keep this going? I'll drop my last episode the weekend after Veterans Day, and then kind of take a break through the holidays through November, December, and give you guys all a chance to go back and catch up on all the episodes. There's probably well over 100 or so episodes downloaded between the interviews, between my solo stories, between Wacky Wednesdays, Conspiracy Fridays, Throwback Thursdays. Boom, done a lot. And you know what? I can't thank each and every one of you guys enough. You guys have kept me motivated. I've gotten so many messages. I've reconnected with a lot of friends and family members that I haven't talked to in a long time, all because of the podcast show. And like I said, I really appreciate you guys always motivating me, liking the show, sharing it out, sending me those great messages, great stuff. Well, we're going to finish off with a great guest here. I'm excited to have him on. My next guest is an Army combat veteran who served his country proud. Through his experiences, he has become a very talented singer-songwriter, having the opportunity to open for country icons like Chris Young and Granger Smith. He's traveled across the country, even stopping in Alaska, playing his music from coast to coast. Let's meet our next hero, Schaefer Mueller.
Hey, how's it going, bro?
What's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm good. Living somebody's best life, I tell you.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, I'm really happy that you came on, bro. I kind of found you in your music by being on the Gun Room Radio. I got to DJ and, got to play your song. And, man, I just was like, damn, I really like this dude. And got to know a little bit more about you. And I was like, oh, well, he's an Army guy. Well, there's that. But, no hating there. I appreciate it. But, hey, man, tell us all about Schaefer Mueller. Just give us your whole story, brother.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you having me on and listening and liking the music. There's a few people that do, so I appreciate all those. But
there's more than a few, but we'll just skip that part.
it's building, I guess. But yeah, so I'm from Virginia. I was born and raised there and played sports my whole life. And I loved music and did it for a while. And then just writing in my room, never played for anybody. Went to college, gave up on the dream of music. My parents were like, yeah, you're not going to do music. That's not a thing you could do. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So I went to college I dropped out my senior year, but I was going for civil engineering at ODU. And I played a little bit with some buddies there. And then I was like, nah, it's not for me. I always wanted to join the Army. I was going to wait till I graduated and then join. And I was like, nah, screw that. Dropped out, joined the Army. And that took me to some dudes that played music, and I got back into it a little bit. And then it wasn't until my deployment in Afghanistan where we had nothing to do, no cell service or anything. I just had a piece of paper and I was like writing music, beating on rocks and stuff, like making beats and singing, and came back and had a bunch of songs I wrote. And my buddies encouraged me to do some open mic nights while I was still in the Army. And those led to gigs that were paying. I was like, oh, they want to pay to play? All right, let's shoot. So I started playing, and next thing I knew, I was playing like 6 nights a week, and ended up getting out the Army, which was, when I was in, I loved it for a year, hated it for a year, loved it for a year. It's all about leadership, right? And I loved what I did, and I loved the time in there. And then it was about the time where music was doing pretty well for me, and I had to make the decision. And my wife is active duty Air Force. So I was like, well, as an airborne combat engineer, there's only 3 bases I can go to. And only one of them is a joint base. There's Pope outside of Bragg, but the likelihood of her getting that, we weren't married yet. So I was like, I'll get out, follow her around, make music. And it's been that way for the past 5 years, just making music and loving life. So
that's outstanding. So your wife, she's currently still in, or?
Yep. She's got 9 years left. She's doing the whole thing. She wants to go more than 20. She loves it. She does optometry.
Oh, wow.
So she just works in the clinic every day. So
awesome.
she absolutely loves it. She's stationed in Alaska right now, actually. So
Oh
I'm
shoot!
back
Oh,
to
that's
fellowship
right.
in
Yeah.
Alaska. Yeah. So we're away from each other currently, but I'll be back up there in the new year. So
Wow. So yeah, dude. I mean, that's got to be kind of rough, but at least you're experienced with it all, and you kind of understand.
yeah, I look at
You
it like a deployment. Like I met her before my deployment to Afghanistan, and that was supposed to be 9 months. Then we all got quarantined in Kuwait on the way back for the norovirus or whatever for another month, and so it ended up being like 11 months ish that we were away. But it was easy, especially with somebody that is understanding. So that made it cool. And then she actually pushed me. I didn't want to leave again because now I have a daughter. So I was like, I don't know, I don't want to be away from the family. And every time I don't want to do anything with music, she's like, "No, you got to do it. Take every opportunity you got." So she was like, "Just go and come back." I was like, "All right, easy enough."
know, right? Well, let's expand a little bit more on your job in the army.
Yeah.
I'm not really up to speed on your MOS. So, kind of tell us a little bit more about what you did.
Yeah, so combat engineer in the Army goes two ways. You can go in a light unit or a heavy unit. The heavy unit guys are all riding around in trucks looking for IEDs and doing route clearance. And then the light unit guys, I was airborne, so I got to go that way. And I was in a sapper company, so we were mainly doing breaching charges, building a lot of charges. Counter mobility and survivability was the job. So a lot of mountaineering, climbing, rappelling, and then being stationed in Alaska, we just would jump in and be in the mountains for like 2 weeks, sleep out there and kind of camp, and then make explosives and do breaching raid training. And then on deployment, I deployed as infantry with a ODA team as their like support. So didn't do any combat engineering over there. But yeah, it was really cool. Like going through basic was when we did like the route clearance stuff, because I never did route clearance. So that was like, yeah, this might suck as a job. But then doing the sapper side of it, it's just a lot of walking and formation if you're going to do route clearance, looking for IEDs on foot, and then just blowing shit up nonstop, which was awesome. I mean, that was it. Just making charges and blowing them up and shooting guns. I was like, you can't ask for a better job. As a dude, you're like, I get to blow shit up and shoot
Yeah, I
things
was like,
every
man,
day.
every kid here is just like, what job is that?
Yeah,
Like,
it's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, it was awesome. And I mean, getting to like anytime I hated it, I looked at it as, well, people pay to go skydiving and I'm getting paid to jump out of planes. People want to blow stuff up but can't do it legally. I get to do that, and I get to shoot
right.
guns whenever I want. So it's kind of anytime I started hating my life, I was like, well, it's actually not that bad.
How many times do you jump, man?
I had like I don't know, between 38 and 40 something. I don't know the exact number, but we
Yeah.
used to jump, like you had to jump once every 3 months, and there was a couple months where we were jumping multiple times a month. So it added up pretty quickly. In airborne school, you have to do 5 jumps right off the bat to get your wings. And we had bad weather all week, so we did 5 jumps in a single day, which was a lot. But yeah, so not too many, but I guess more than most. So
Yeah, no shit. Yeah,
there's
for
dudes
sure,
out there
man.
that have like 200 jumps. I'm like, oh, man, that's awesome. But also, I hated it sometimes. Like full combat load jumps suck because the parachutes, 30 something pounds, and then the reserves 15 pounds, and then you had a 100-pound ruck strapped to the parachute. Not in a good way. It's just like pulling your shoulders down. In an airborne timeline, you get there at 4 a.m. and you don't jump till like 5 p.m. or 8 p.m. And so you're sitting there all rigged up, like, get me on this damn plane. And then if there's bad weather, I mean, it's miserable. You're just circling until you can get a good window to jump. And sometimes you stand up and you have 20 minutes usually after you stand up, or we did. It was a 10-minute warning. You stand up, hook up, and then, oh, I'm not going to jump on this pass. And they would loop back around. And then it's like 20 more minutes you're waiting. Everybody's sitting there like, holding their static line and waiting and just going through hell. And then once those green light hits, you're like, all right, get me off of this bird right now. I want to get out of here. Because once you're out, I mean, you don't feel any of that weight. You're just kind of floating. So,
Yeah, dude, I've seen a lot of those those bad army compilation ones where the guys are having some really bad landings.
yeah.
I mean, bro,
Yeah.
did you ever experience or see anybody do some pretty bad, where they're oh that motherfucker's gonna be hurt. Or
there was a dude, not in my company, but in the battalion, he lost his arm I think it was his first jump at the unit.
No.
And so he lost his arm. He got caught up in the static line, and then a bunch of injuries with static line injuries, which is, they say it's usually the jumper's fault, but I think that one was a jump master fault issue. But I've seen dudes smack the ground. Like, luckily, I didn't. When I jumped into Australia, I smacked the ground the hardest I've ever hit, and I was like, "Whoa, crap!" Like that messed
knocked
me
the
up.
wind out of you a little bit.
Yeah, that hurt. I just laid there like, so but like those are the jumps like that usually are the worst. When we jumped into Australia with the Canadians and the Japanese military, so the Canadians came over to Alaska, we flew, and the Japanese met us over Hawaii, I believe. It's a 22-hour flight. We rigged up on board, and then when we got there, it was too windy to jump, and so they were like gonna just scratch it, and then it was like, nah, like the commander that was with us on the bird, that was some major, I think, he was like, no, we're jumping. Like, we just flew 22 hours. It doesn't matter. We're jumping. And the load master from the Air Force, I think, was like, it's windy as hell. You got jumping. I'm like, nope, send it. And so many people got hurt, I feel like, on that jump. It was rough. But we had a buddy, he was like in a coma and couldn't walk for months. It was his last jump. And if you pass another parachute over top of it, the lower parachute will steal the air, and so the parachute will collapse. And that's what happened to him. And he was about tree level, maybe a little bit more, so like 250 feet up above the ground.
Free fall.
Yeah, and he smacked the ground, and he got messed up, like real messed up. And my other buddy almost died jumping. I forgot what state it was in, but they did a mass jump somewhere, but the pathfinder on the ground messed up, and they sent like 3 birds of people out over the trees instead of over the drop zone, and so people were just smacking trees.
Dude.
Yeah, and so
getting stuck up in there too, or
you get stuck, your parachute gets caught up, and you're supposed to lower your reserve and use that as like a rope to climb down, but reserves are really slick on the lines. So my buddy, he was my best friend, one of my best friends from up there. He released his reserve, put it out, and then he went to go pop. He was like all tight, and he said when he popped his parachute off at his hip, it like jolted him forward, and he missed the thing, so he just fell out of the tree, landed on his back, broke his neck real bad, and he was one of the 2 that was like in critical condition after that. There was, I think, 60 to 80. I forgot. It might have been like 80 people. It was all over the news when it happened, but there was like 80 jumpers that got stuck in trees and were injured. And there was 2 that were rushed to the hospital, and he was one of them. And it messed him up pretty good. And he stayed in. He got out of airborne, and he's a CID now. So he's doing the special agent thing down in Fort Hood. So he's doing good now. But yeah, luckily I didn't ever get seriously hurt, but we had a couple guys get pretty bad. The guy that free fell, he fought for, it's always on the last jump when people get hurt. It says like bad luck. Like I paid, instead of doing my last jump, I was like, I'll just pay the $300 that I owe, because if you don't jump, you owe what they paid you for jump pay.
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
For like the last, and since your last jump, you just have to pay. And so I was like, yeah, screw that. Like, I'm not doing my last jump.
I've heard enough bad stories. Fuck that.
Yeah, but that guy, he fought for, God, I think he was supposed to get out like a couple months later, and he stayed in like a year and a half fighting to get paid and get medically discharged. And he just kept getting like 60%, 70%, and he could barely walk and not work. Like, he was bad off. And he finally got out at like 70% and just kept fighting out on the outside. It's like, that sucks. Like, you actually are messed up. And the system screwed him. So yeah, after that, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing my last jump. If I get hurt, I'm screwed. I'm stuck here for 2 more years fighting it. Nah.
Now, dude, you have like bad knees or back from all that shit, or what, dude?
Yeah, I feel like anybody that was airborne,
yeah,
they'll tell you they've got bad knees and bad back. Like, my knees, and I didn't, like, they hurt, and I was like, yeah, it's probably just because I work out and stuff. And then, like, as I get older now, like, my knees hurt. I'm like, damn, this is like, it's just constant impact. You hit the ground pretty fast, because it's not like the civilian shoots where you can steer them, or even the SF dudes shoots where you can actually kind of land and not be immobilized.
Yeah, you're just going wherever that chute takes you on this one,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. The static line, they have it designed so you can jump out as low as possible, get to the ground as fast as possible without breaking stuff. And so you jump out at 800 feet and you hit the ground. I forgot what it was. I think it was like 15 miles per hour to 20 miles per hour is like how fast you hit the ground. So you have to land right. If you don't land
Better
right,
embrace that. Yeah.
yeah. So everybody's gets. I think everybody that gets out after doing airborne stuff is like, man, there's little aches and pains here and there.
Yeah, damn, dude. I imagine, man. Every time you go up the stairs.
Yeah, I'm cracking left and right.
Yeah, it gives everybody a sign like, oh, here comes Schaefer.
Yeah, you can't sneak up on anybody.
No, we're definitely taking out that side. But yeah, man. So let's talk more about your music stuff and how, after you got yourself out of the army, how did you get yourself gravitating into the music industry? It's because it's a rough industry to get into.
Yeah,
Very competitive.
Yeah, it's especially like right now in Nashville, it's so oversaturated that it's hard to get an opportunity here. But I was fortunate enough where when I was still in and was like, well, I'll just go to, like, my buddies, like I said, they pushed me to do open mic night, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, I've never played for anybody in person. I've played for a few guys in the barracks at this point, and I went and there was a lady there that books for that bar that does the open mic nights, jam nights on Sundays. And she was like, hey, do you have 4 hours worth of material? It's like, I just played 3 songs. Like, that's all I knew. I couldn't remember more than 3 songs. I was like, shoot, just say yes. Yeah, I do. I'll figure it out later. And she was like, all right, great. We'd like to book you every other Thursday until it was like 6 months. I was like, wow, oh, okay. Like that was kind of like a
Start
scary
learning
thing
some songs.
Yeah, like that, like kicked me in the butt. Like, all right, you got to learn some stuff. And I was like, it was a mixed emotion, because I was like, well, I'm happy that somebody thought I was good enough to say I want to pay you to come play, because I never had any confidence in music, and it was just something like, hey, I'm not that good. I just do it for fun, right? So that was like a booster in my confidence. And then on the other side, I was like, shoot, how am I going to do this? Like, I don't know that much about music. I'm decent on guitar, but I wasn't confident in my voice. So I was like scrummaging through songs, trying to figure out what songs I could even sing. And that kind of started it all. But I played maybe a month at that bar, and some other bar owners had heard me or heard of me and asked me to play. And within like 3 months, I was playing 5 nights a week for money. And I was like, all right, so it's not just this lady that likes me. This guy likes me. Okay, I'm getting something here. And that kind of pushed me towards the direction of digging in and doing music. And I had written a bunch of songs on deployment that were just sitting on the back burner. So I started playing those at my shows, and people loved them. I was like, oh, cool. Like, they like my originals. This is cool. And so a lot of people start music and they can't find a gig, or it's really hard to like prove yourself. And I was lucky that I was able to play for 2 years, like full time after the army. And then COVID happened, and that kind of screwed everybody on live music. And we moved to Louisiana at the time. So it was a new place, not a lot of places playing. And when you go to a new place, they have their go-to guys that have been playing there for 10 to 20 years. So it was hard to break in there, but kind of the same thing happened to me. I was able to finagle my way into one bar, and then call another place and be like, hey, I played here. And they're like, well, if they let you play, we'll give you a shot. And so they give you like one gig just to see how you do. And then every gig I played after the gig, the booking or the manager there or the owner was there. They were like, can you come back this day? Can you come back this day? And it just like racked up. So within my first year in Louisiana, I was playing full time once again. And that was during COVID. So all of them were outdoor things. But I was fortunate enough when people that had been playing in that state for a long time couldn't get gigs, and I was kind of coming in under the radar and just swooping up gigs. And then it was just kind of natural after that, like call a bar, show them some of my stuff. And I was able to tour around Oklahoma, play a lot in Texas, Louisiana, went all the way up and down the East Coast playing, and people wanted to hear me. So that kind of made it nice. And now I'm kind of back at the starting point going to Nashville. I hadn't played here yet. So it's the same thing, try to break in. the problem with that is now everybody's trying to break in, so they have so many people. So it's like unless they give you a shot, they don't listen to your stuff if you email them. They're just like they have to see you live. And I've been lucky enough to get a few gigs here and played, and they liked it, and they're like, all right, we want to have you back. But it's kind of all audition based here. Like, all right, you do one, and so let's see how it goes. But everywhere I've been able to play, I've created a small fan base that is pretty good to me, and they download my stuff and they share it, and got to play on a few radio stations. My songs get played on a radio station in Virginia, and got to play live on a radio station in Alaska. And then there's a whole rodeo crowd that I became friends with all of them through music, and now they just like they show everybody my music. They're my biggest like supporters when it comes to, hey, listen to this, hey, do that. And I opened up for Chris Young, and they were all there selling my merch for me. Like they showed up, my wife was selling my merch, and they got behind the thing like, hey, everybody over here. And I sold out a merch like that. I was like, this is amazing. Man. So, and now they play my music in all the bars up in Alaska because of those rodeo guys. Any bar they go to, they're like, play this, and then the DJ likes it, and he keeps spinning it after that. And so,
oh man, that's outstanding.
Yeah, I've been fortunate in having good people that like my music and have helped push it. And then recently I've been looking at Spotify, and my streams are going up and up and up. So I'm like, something good's happening. I don't know what, but one of these days something good will happen.
That's it, man. So do you write your own songs?
I do. I'm trying to start branching out and doing co-writes. Well, that's one of my goals while I'm still in Nashville, because there's some good songwriters out here. But so far I've just written everything myself, because it's just it's a way to kind of deal with stuff. And then if I push, like, here's a topic I want to write about, but it doesn't really resonate with me, it's really hard to write a song that will resonate with other people if it's just like cookie cutter stuff that you're just trying to get something poppy that's going to be a hit. It's really hard to write those, and they never turn out good. So I found it better just, hey, this is how I'm feeling right at this moment. Let me write a story down first. And so I write a story that I want to tell, and then I start finding some chords and some riffs to do to it, and it turns into a song that works out. Like one of the songs, Happy, that you mentioned, that song, I was in a bad place after the Army. When I was doing music, I hit like I don't know, I missed the Army, and I missed what I was doing, and I felt like I wasn't doing anything important at that point. I was like, I just sing in bars for drunk people. I was doing something that was like had some kind of meaning, and now I'm just some punk that plays in bars, And so I was going through this like mental crisis at the time, and lost interest in everything. I didn't want to play music anymore. I could sit down to play guitar, and I'd strum it once and be like, nah, screw this, I'm done. And I found myself literally laying on the floor every day, just staring at the ceiling, or sitting on the couch with the TV off, just staring at the wall, and just in a blank space all day. And I was like, all right, I got to try to write one more song, because I was towards my end, and I was laying on the floor one day, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to write one more song. This is how I'm feeling right now. I hit record on my phone and just started like singing what I was feeling at that moment and what I was doing. And then that song, I mean, I recorded it for like 5 minutes, got up, and I was like, that not that bad. Wrote it down, played it at my next gig, and everybody was like crying and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. I've never had that reaction. And so I saved that, and that's a song I didn't play for 2 more years. I had friends that like wanted to hear it, and my wife wanted to hear it. And I was like, I'm not playing that live. Like, it's just, it takes me to a bad spot, and it's sad. But over the last year, I've been playing it at shows, and that's the one song people come up to me afterwards, and they're like, that song hit me.
It's relatable, I think, especially with the world's environment and stuff right now. It's definitely, I think, resonates with a lot of people.
Yeah, which was something that was, I guess, surprising to me, because I wrote that song specifically for myself,
right.
And just a way to get over stuff and kind of like, I don't know, express my feelings, because I don't talk about my feelings. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to put them in this song.
Now you see you're not alone.
Yeah, and it's cool. Like, I've had a lot of people come up to me after crying about like, excuse me, one lady, we were in Alaska in Homer, and she came up, and she like bawled her eyes out and held me in like an embrace for 15 minutes and told me that her son had taken his life, and her husband was going through a lot of PTSD issues, and that song just hit her. And I was like, oh, well, wow, like that had a meaning. And that's when that was the day I decided to start playing it more often, because I was at a veteran event and they wanted me to play that song. was like, all right, I'll do it, but I don't know. So I saved it till dead last because I didn't want to ruin anybody's mood. And then I was like, all right, like if I can get that one reaction at least once, like every now and then, it means something to me. So it's been cool, and that kind of pushed me to keep writing my own stories. Like, all right, this is how I feel. This is what I'm doing, and I think it's led to some decent songs. So
Absolutely. I mean, anytime you could write about life, there's always people out there that are going through the same thing,
yeah,
or something worse or whatever. But um, I've always found music to be very therapeutic for myself. So I can only imagine, man, when you're able to write it, put it into a song, for I know for the singer songwriter, the music, the song itself is totally different than probably what it is for the listener.
yeah,
But there's a lot of similarities too, where people can relate because they might be going through something. It may not be exactly what you're going through, but
they
they're
can
at that
relate in
same
some
level.
way.
They're just laying on the floor like, what the hell, bro? Like, what am I
Yeah,
doing?
yeah,
Don't
they
feel
get
like I
stuck.
have anything going. I'm in a rut.
Yeah,
So
and yeah, that's something I never thought anybody would actually listen to the words of the song. So when I started realizing they were, I was like, all right, I don't have to write these like other songs that I'm just trying to push out something that's catchy, And so that's helped me. But also like just seeing it help other people. There was a girl I was friends with in high school that I hadn't talked to in forever, and her mom had killed herself. It was like 2012 maybe. And she reached out to me because I put a snippet online on like Facebook or something right after I wrote it, a couple months after I wrote it, 5 years before I recorded it. And she messaged me and was like, "Can you send me the lyrics to that? Like that song made me think of my mom and this and that." And like that was the first taste of okay, like lyrics are like I can write whatever I want and not have to worry about the other stuff. So it's cool if it relates to people, but then there's songs that I write that like people are like, "What the hell is that?" Yeah.
well, the thing that I could really appreciate, like your music in particular, is it's a story, man. It's not just these two liners with a great beat to it and
Yeah,
a hook. You guys are out there telling a story, and
yeah,
it's still real music. That's where and I love that you're keeping it to where we're not losing. I feel like in some ways we're losing good music, the
yeah.
hands-on music. We're
Meaningful
allowing
stuff.
everything to be digitized, and people don't want to learn the instruments and stuff anymore.
Oh yeah. You get
But
thousands of songs a day and these TikTokers that are just coming up with
yeah,
one line and hoping that they
right,
get a bunch of views and yeah,
right, dude. It was some like a lot of times it's just they got this great beat. It could
yeah,
be the horriblest line too, but I
yeah,
mean, there's just that beat. Everybody's just like, yeah, and there's this guy saying some stupid thing. You're just like, what is he even saying?
yeah.
But we're just
If
like,
you actually listen to some of the best songs, you're like, what these makes no sense.
yeah, like literally put the lyrics down and be like,
The hell?
wow, that
Yeah,
doesn't mean nothing. It's just like they rhyme together.
yeah, right. Yeah,
uh,
that's something like I grew up listening to I mean all types of music, but the thing that I loved about country music was that it told a story.
right.
And so growing up on that and like you could anytime I was sad or happy or whatever, I could find a song to relate to my feelings. And from start to finish, you could see a story unfold. And that's the kind of songs I always wanted to write. And I've put out I have 6 out right now. I'm recording 8 more, trying to get 10 done before the new year. But
Damn.
um yeah, I haven't done anything all year, so I'm like, all right, I'm behind. I got to
Now
start
you're
putting
putting it
out.
all in, bro. You're
Yeah,
yeah.
I got to put them up. But there's like a song that if you listen to it firsthand, you might be like, this song has no meaning. And that was one I didn't write like a full story to. But if you actually listen to it, there's a story there because I was living in my car right when I dropped out of college before the army, and I saved up enough money to buy a guitar instead of finding a place to live. And there's this nice Taylor guitar, it was $1,800.
Damn.
And I was like, man, I wasn't making my car payments or anything. And I was like, well, the guitar is cool. And
He's about
so,
to get repoed. He's like,
yeah,
I should go buy this guitar. Fuck these
exactly.
6 payments worth of payments I could have just got rid of.
Exactly. So I was like, man, I'm like, I took a step back like a month later and I was like, man, I'm an idiot. Right. And so that was one of the first songs I wrote that I've kept. And it's a song called Stubborn. And
Yeah.
like, it's fun, and I wanted to write like a rappy thing first, and I didn't have guitar to it at first when I wrote it. But it was something that was, I just wanted to like kind of take a step back and be like, look, I'm an idiot. I'm stubborn. I'm going to make a lot of bad choices. And then here's what I've done. And so like, it tells you, hey, why in that I say I bought a new guitar while I was sleeping in my car. Right. And it's like, here, I make a lot of bad decisions. And then, like, so that song's probably the one that doesn't, like, to me, if you first hear it, you're like, that doesn't really tell a story, but there's a story behind it in my head. And I wasn't writing for other people at the time. And then, the rest of them after that, I've tried to specifically write a story. There's a song, Blocked. That's the only song I didn't write completely by myself. My guitar player came in, he got broken up with, and he was like, I want to write a song. I was like, oh, okay. Well, about what? And he was like, man, she just blocked me on Facebook. I was like, all right, hold that thought. And I came up with the chorus. And then I was like, all right, what happened before that? Like, why'd y'all break up? Well, she went down to the beach and she went with like all dudes. And I heard she hooked up with a guy while she was down there. I was like, perfect. I think we got a song here, you know? And so, like, that's one of my more
making
fun
a good
songs.
country song already.
Yeah,
Here
right?
we go.
Yeah, Heartbreak
breakup.
Just the Best. So that song, we wrote that to a beat first, and we're like, this is like a catchy song, and it's a fun song. It's one of my most favorite songs to play, the most fun for me to play. But it also gets to tell a story about his breakup. So it's not just catchy stuff. But now I think all the songs I wrote that are coming out now are all like too serious, but I try to make them fun. Like my grandma, she's struggling with dementia, and last time I saw her, she was really bad off. And like, I don't think she recognized me. My mom says she does, but it's a whole new world now for her. And so I've been struggling to write a song for the past 6 months. From my granddad's point of view is what I wanted to write. And then the other day it just kind of came out, and I was like, all right, I cannot wait to put this song out. Like, this song,
That's gonna be
I think it's
gut-wrenching one. It sounds like
Yeah.
already, bro.
Yeah, it's sad for me to sing, and I know, like, I played it for my mom, and she started crying, and my wife, she was like, that song's good, like that's deep. I was like, yeah, all right, I'll work on that one first. So I think now my songs are going more towards, as much as I can tell a story, I want them to be meaningful. So that's kind of all the songs I'm trying to put out now are meaningful in my mind. I don't know if they'll relate with everybody, but I think that one will. So
that's awesome. So you're extremely busy right now, then, I guess, huh? I mean,
I feel like I'm nonstop doing something. It's rough. I think every week in the past month I've been somewhere like 10 hours away, and then turn around, come back, and next weekend I'm going down to Georgia, and it's just one place after the next, which is cool. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to do that, but it'd be nice to slow down and stop. So I'm looking forward to the new year, because I'm not going to do anything besides move back to Alaska with my wife, but my daughter's going to be up there by then, and just play music in bars again, like take it back a step and not travel for at least 6 months, and then try to get back into it.
So are you just a solo? You're just you and a guitar, or what? Is that how it goes? Or
currently, so
Yeah.
I had a band in Louisiana when I lived there, and they went with me to all the shows in Texas that we had full band things, and we had a couple big ones in Bossier and Shreveport and in Oklahoma City. And when I moved, so I went up with my wife in June to Alaska. So we didn't break up. They're like, hey, anytime you got a gig down here, call us. Like, we'll come and play. But in Nashville, one's a school teacher, one does HVAC. They can't get the time off to come up and play full band stuff. And honestly, solo stuff's how I started. And with the songs, I want people to actually listen to the words and not just the everything else. It pays more to me to do it like a songwriter's round, where people are intently listening. Like, their acoustic shows at bars usually aren't that good, but in Nashville, people see an acoustic show and they're like, all right, I'm gonna listen to this because the guy's a songwriter, and that's what they want to hear, people that are songwriters. So right now it's actually paying off better to be solo, because everything kind of gets lost. Music gets lost when you have a full band, and all the full bands here just do covers on Broadway all day. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of don't want to do covers anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I do them because I have to, but I'll throw in 10 originals at every show I do that's supposed to be all covers. I'll just sneak them in there. Like, I'm writing music. I want people to hear it.
Right. No kidding. I mean, and and it's better than, I guess, I know it's fun. People like cover songs, but it's just more unique when it's your own stuff, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then you can see other people they're actually reacting to it, and you're like,
Yeah, and it's a lot cooler. It doesn't get so like monotonous and boring for me playing covers where people are just like cheering because they love the song and they weren't listening
sure,
to you at all. But like you play an original and people are cheering along with it, or I see some people singing it. I'm like, how do you know this? This is
yeah,
awesome. And then that's usually like if I play all covers, people don't come up to me afterwards saying, hey, this, that. But I'll have people waiting to talk to me after a show about my songs when I play originals. I'm like, all right, that's like that pays more than anything else to me. Having like, okay, you're listening. Like that's all I want. Which is one reason I hate doing private gigs because you're getting paid to play background music. It's like, man, I want people to hear my songs, not just have something on in the background. So it's yeah.
Now, are you working with a recording group or something to help you with all putting it all on recording?
Yeah, so I did 3 songs I recorded at a studio in Texas. It's a pretty big studio down there, so that was a cool opportunity. Cost me a lot of money, so I guess it wasn't really an opportunity; it was just an investment. But
Right.
and then I became part of a group called Operation Encore, and they
Yes.
paid for
Yeah.
my next 3 songs, and they took me out to their producer that they like out in San Francisco, and that was a cooler experience. I got to work with them, and now they hooked me up with a guy. He's a producer and a songwriter. He's got a bunch of number ones and a Grammy, and he has a production school in Nashville. And so when I graduated from LSU Shreveport, I had 1 month left on my GI Bill, or 1 semester left. So I used that to do his school. So I'm currently doing a production school through him, and in that I can record, use his studio at free will, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm using his studio, which is way better than anything I'm going to do on my own, and try to get all these songs recorded while I'm still in the school. So
Man, that's awesome. And I mean, but a lot of work, I'm sure, dude. Like, because you got to, for one, write the song
yeah,
and you got to find the strums to go with it,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, especially
So,
when you get in like a writer's block area where like all my songs start sounding the same. I'm like, all right, I got to take a break from this for a minute. But it helps now with going with Joe there. Like he's heard a couple of songs. He's like, what if you did this? What if you changed that?
sure,
And he's
right.
got the mind for it, right? And
Good.
like that's elevated the songs already. I'm like, okay, this is good because I get stuck with the same pattern, or I didn't know how to do the Nashville number system or music theory before I came here, and now I do. And he's like, "What if you go to the 6 minor? Or you go here?" And I'm like, at first I didn't know what any of that meant. I've been studying that, and I know it now, and that's helped my music like tremendously. So now my songs can actually, the music can go somewhere, and the lyrics can go somewhere instead of just a loopy sounding nonstop same chords for 4 minutes, and then the words change. So that's been super helpful.
And I imagine too, bro, like when you set a number in your head, you're like, I'm going to do 8 songs this year.
Yeah,
You run into a little bit of the issue of like, I hope I'm not rushing these
yeah,
last few songs just because I want to do 8. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. That's
I imagine you run into that kind of issue too, where you're just like, wow, I just spit that out because I'm just trying to put something together now.
Definitely. Definitely ran into that. So when I came here, I was like, I want to get 6 songs done. And I started all 6. I had ideas that I wanted, and I wrote them all down, and they were all like half-assed, half-finished songs. And then randomly driving back and forth to Texas, or we went down to Myrtle Beach or whatever, things would pop in my head. And these are more stories from my life that I want to write about. And so I finished the whole song in a second. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to put that down here and still work on these 6. Then I wrote another song. I'm going to put that down here and work on these 6. So now I've got 4 songs that I really like that I wrote and not finished the 6 that I started with. So I'm like, all right, I want to get 10 done, but realistically, I'll try to get 8 because I have these songs that are almost finished, but they're starting to sound, like you said, like it seems like you're pushing it too hard and it's not organic. And it's like, man, I need to add another verse to this. What can I say? And then it just seems like I don't know, just a song generator trying to make a song up. It's like, all right, got to take a step back. So I haven't even worked on those 6 songs in the last month, hoping that when I take another visit at them, something fresh will come to me. And if not, then I won't. I'm not going to record them if I don't fall in love with them when I play it, because I have songs that like I think are decent, and then I go to want to play them at a gig. I'm like, you know what, not decent enough. So if I'm not happy enough with it to play it live, I'm not going to record it. So We'll
Well,
see.
now they have that chat AI, man. You can be like,
Yeah,
hey, I would like to write a song about this. What do
yeah,
you think?
yeah. Write this song for me about this.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And let's see what the first take is. I could probably,
Yeah,
twig
yeah,
some words up.
yeah. Chat GTP. I tried
Yeah,
that
there you
once.
go.
I
Yeah,
wanted to
shoot.
see
Hey,
what it came up with, but
I imagine that
it
there's
was
people
weird.
out there probably doing it, man.
Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
sure.
but I do find that I guess after I've used it a couple of times, it does kind of, you can kind of tell the way that it starts wording
Structures.
thing that kind
Yeah,
of almost uses a lot of the same,
yeah, yeah.
just
Just
words
fine.
it differently or something.
And it kind of takes away that like that personal bit. Like it'll
Yeah,
write a song that is maybe catchy or has the idea around whatever. But I think what makes certain songs great is the songwriter has their own push on things or their own
right.
way of doing something, and you can usually hear it in a song. Like, oh, he wrote it like that. Like Hardy, he has a very specific way he writes where like it's not just the end of the line that has a rhyme word. He has songs that maybe not rhyme throughout, but they feed off each other, and it creates a beat vocally, and like that's his style. And you can kind of hear a song and be like, oh, Hardy wrote that, and kind of figured it out that way. So I think like that's what I try to do. Try to have like a signature in my writing. But if AI gets better, I don't have to worry about it anymore.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it'd be funny hearing all
Stress.
these crazy songs out there. Like, damn, man, there's some good songwriters out
Write
there.
me a country song, and it comes up with, well, my dog in the truck.
Yeah,
Like, no, not that.
broke up. My girlfriend left me.
Yeah. The general
Uh,
stuff.
yeah, that's great, dude. Well, I mean, I gotta imagine though when you get to that level of trying to pump it out, man. You know, you start to second guess yourself a lot of the times
Yeah.
too. You even probably when you probably put out some good things, you're probably like, oh gosh,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of. I mean, I've talked to quite a few singer songwriters, and they are very critical on themselves. The
Yeah.
most critical human beings to themselves.
Yeah. They hate something about it, and they're like, man, this is stupid. This is
And
that.
everybody else is like, "What?
I
That
love
sounded
this.
great." Yeah, and then
Yeah.
it's I guess it's always the ones that you think are going to be the banger doesn't
Never
turn
are.
out to be that way, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Damn, dude, I don't know." And this one ain't catching. I thought I love this one.
Yeah. I
You know
thought
what I
this one was
mean?
gonna be it.
And
Yeah.
then the one that you're like, "Oh shit, this one. I hope someone listens to it." And the next thing you know, it's a hit. You're like,
Yeah. That
"Okay,
was like I mean, I've experienced that with the song "Something to Drink About." That was when I wrote "On Deployment," and I was just trying to like force something out, and it kind of flowed. But then I was like trying to force other lines. I was like, man, I hate this song. Like, it just didn't seem right, and I barely play it live, and I recorded it and put it out because I was like, maybe somebody will like it. Like, there's a few people that come to my shows that were like, "That's my favorite song." I was like, all right, and that's my top streaming song right now. I was like, okay, that was one of my least favorite, and it didn't get recorded the way I heard it, and it's good, so I'll take it.
hell yeah!" Like, bing. All
Yeah,
right,
it works for me.
yeah. Now, when you release music, man, I mean, do you have that anticipation, and you're kind of just like looking and seeing, like, do you kind of get nervous about it? Because obviously, bro, you're putting it out there,
Yeah,
and you want it to be heard,
yeah.
So
I think the first three I expected, just like I wanted to get music out there. So when I was playing gigs, people would come up and be like, "Do you have music out? Can I stream it?" It's like, no, I don't. And so like that was the reason I recorded the first three songs I did and put them out, and I had no expectations for it. And they did decent I mean, decent to a songwriter might be a million or something, right? Decent to me was like if 100 people hear this, I'm happy. And
right, yeah,
they got a couple thousand each, and I was like, okay, that's awesome.
nice, yeah,
And then so that got my hopes up when I released the next three. I spread them out a little bit, and I think I was like watching it every day after I posted it. Like, let me see what the
yeah,
analytics are, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
where's it
yeah,
going? Where's it going?
yeah,
And they got like the same traction, but I'm hoping now, because I didn't have that many monthly listeners or anything. So I'm hoping while it's still high, and my Spotify, it's weird with Spotify because it just finds an algorithm,
it
puts you
does,
out
yeah,
there on a playlist, and you get a bunch of streams, and then dies off. So I'm watching it go up to like 1 month I had 40,000 listeners, and the next month I had like 200, and then the next month I had 20 maybe, and then it was down, and then it was a couple months without much, like maybe a couple thousand, and then it was up to 13,000 last month, and I looked like yesterday and it was at like 7,000. Like, I don't get it.
yeah.
So I'm just hoping like if I can put it out when it's high and it's something new for people to listen to and get those followers, because I have people that have saved my Spotify and following it and have me download it on their iTunes. So I'll pop up now on their new music radar or whatever it is on each app. And so I'm hoping, like, now I'm at the point where I'm going to be watching, like, I'm watching the analytics every day. Like, come on, who's listening? And so these next songs, I'm debating, like, do I put them all out at once as an album? Do I do them as solo? Because I want them to each be heard and not get lost, but also I want, like, the max amount of people hearing it that I can. Like, I don't expect millions and millions, but it's cool when I can say, well, there's 20,000 people out there that like my music. That's awesome. So
now, is it an exciting feeling kind of when you're getting ready to release something, or you're just kind of nervous about it, dude? Or are you like, what's the kind of the emotions you're going through as you're getting ready to release a new song?
It's been a mixture depending on the song. Cause when I released Blocked, I was like, I mean, that song to me it's just cheesy, I think. But I was releasing, I was like, I mean, maybe people will listen to it. Something I threw it out there, so it's something extra, so they didn't listen to the same 5 songs or whatever. And when I put out Happy, I was like, I hope people hear this song and like it. And so I was super nervous about putting that one out, and it wasn't just like, hey, I'm throwing another one out here. And now I'm like nervous about putting the other ones out because I'm hoping they don't just all flop. You know, like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? Like, what if in a year all these songs I put out that I thought were good enough to record have 100 or just 2 streams? I'm like, oh, man, what am I gonna do? But yeah, so I'm nervous currently, and I've been nervous for certain songs in the past, but other ones I've been super excited. Like I wrote a song, One Last Rodeo, and that was one of my favorite lyrically that I wrote, because I just wanted to write a story, and that when I wrote it, I was at a rodeo and I was like, I need to write a new song. And so I started forcing songs, and I was like, I don't want to write it about the rodeo. This seems too forced. But I want to use that in the song. And I want to write a song about a guy at the hospital with his family around him. They're all sad he's about to go. And he's like, don't worry about me. I got one more last hurrah. Or like, give me one more chance to say goodbye to my family and say this and do this before I go, like pleading. And so I wrote a story about that and then put it into a song. And that song to me was a meaningful one. And so when I put that out, I was like, I cannot wait for people to hear this. I'm so excited about this. This is a good song. And I mean, it's done all right, but that was probably the one I was most excited to put out. And I think now the song that I wrote about my grandma from my granddad's perspective, that song I'm super excited to put out. The rest I'm kind of like, hopefully they do all right. But that one I want people to hear. So I'm excited about it. Like those songs I want people to listen to and hear are the ones I'm excited about. Like, see if these lyrics hit you, because that's what they hit me, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's always, I guess, you're, kind of an artist, and you're waiting to see what people are going to think of your art. You know what I mean? What do you think about this painting? What do you think about this story? And, man, I got to imagine, because I even know being a podcaster, dude, it's the same thing,
Yeah.
But we're not, ripping songs out where we have episodes, and it's like, not everybody wants to hear podcasts, and not everybody's into podcasting. So sometimes you'll be looking at those analytics and it's like,
yeah, it gets unhealthy sometimes looking at them. Like,
yeah, man.
Do they not like it? Do they not like this?
It's you get yourself caught up in it. Once you hear there's analytics, at least for me, I'm always curious and seeing what's going on and how certain shows impact or whatever other people, and what are they listening to. But with your music, bro, like, is the songs that you write inspiration to you, or I mean, are there some of them related to other stories you've seen, or is it all based off of what you've experienced in your life?
Every song I've written, besides a few, have been like stories from my life, but I'm running out of stories in my life right now, right? So like I know I wrote about that. I can't do the same thing. And
right.
So like one of the new ones I'm going to record, I wrote it a while ago, before I ever got married to my current wife. And it was about my ex-wife, but it was kind of just like, I want to write like a FU song. Then I was like, no, I'm not going to write that. It's going to be another bad decision song, because that was a bad decision. And so I wrote this song, and that one I would play live at every bar because people would just crack up at it. And it was like a joke song. But that's like that one, and the one with my grandma that I'm going to put out right now are about my life, but the other ones are just stories that, like, I try to write like fiction stories or stories that I've heard and put those into song. Um, so like the One Last Rodeo, that song isn't about me in any sense, and it's I didn't have that experience with anybody like on their deathbed, like, man, I just want one more night before I go, like knowing that they're about to die. But it's a story that popped in my head, and I was like, man, like that'd be a good video, and like tried to write it in a sense that you could picture a video in your head of it and stuff. And so that was just a song that has no story of me in it, but it was a story that I wanted to tell, because it might have been somebody else, and then Blocked was my guitar player's story. But I've been blocked on Facebook, and I've had girls cheat on me, and it's like, all right, so
Yeah.
it is kind of my story too, like we can
Yeah,
make
I
this
think a
work.
lot of us could say that we've been blocked before.
Right, right. So yeah, it's a mixture. Like I realized like in the past year, that not all songs have to be about me, because you want them to resonate with people. So just telling a
Sure.
story in general works out. And I mean, there's a couple songs that are just like, I wanted to write a party song, and so what do I do for fun? I go and I have cookouts in the backyard. So I was like, I'm gonna write a song about a cookout, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like it's just a fun backyard barbecue kind of song to me. I mean, it might not resonate with anybody, but who doesn't like going over somebody's house and having a cookout, or like football
No, for
Sunday?
sure,
So,
man. Right? Hell yeah.
so, so that one, like, yeah,
We
it's
could
a
use the
mixture.
party songs.
Yeah, I think it usually is like a couple songs that in a row I'll write that are just songs that like I kind of have an idea for a song that I want to say, and then one will pop up in my life where I'm like, all right, I got to get this out of me because it's tearing me apart, and then write a couple more songs that have no meaning to me, and then write another one. And so it's like it's a roller coaster of, once I write enough songs that don't resonate with me, they're just songs that I think are decent, and I just wanted to write something. Um, my body will be like, all right, but you're dealing with this over here, like write about that too. And so it goes through both. And it's just every now and then I get one that's personal, and trying to get away from the personal stuff so I don't have to cry on stage. Hasn't happened yet, but I don't know how personal I'll ever get, but some of them are pretty personal.
So do you have music videos that you doing and stuff like that too, or
I
you?
need to. I've been wanting to for the last year, and I keep telling myself I need to, and I haven't done it. And then I've looked. I invested in this nice camera in order to get some good shots, but I haven't logistically gone through. Like, I have all these music videos in my head, and I wrote them out exactly how I want to do them. So if I get a camera crew or the ability to do it, like, all right,
You're
step
ready
by
to
step,
go.
this is
Yeah.
exactly what I want it to look like. And there's a guy here that I met that's what he does. He was like, man, let's make some videos while you're in town. Um, he just do it for me for free, and I've seen some of his stuff is really good. And I was like, all right, well, I definitely want to. So I'm when I get back, my last 3 weeks in DC in December, I only leave one more time from Nashville, so I'm gonna try to use that time to get some music videos and start putting them out before the songs come out, um, and try to get like a whole acoustic album as well, where it's just like if you saw Tyler Childers when he was like the first song, he's sitting on a rug and it's just him and an acoustic guitar, and the video's all good. And like I'm trying to get at least 5 videos like that, because I love that kind of style. And I personally look for any song I like, I look for an acoustic version of it and watch them play it on YouTube somewhere. Like they're doing it just them and a guitar, it's mic'd up well and good camera angles. That's what resonates with me. So that's what I want to do for some of those more personal songs, and then just some fun music videos for the other ones. I still want to get a music video for Something to Drink About with people in a bar, and I've been talking about that one for 3 years. Like, all right, like maybe I'll go to this bar and just ask the owner.
You need some extras, bro. I'll be one in the bar, bro.
Yeah, just singing like that. That's what I need.
Hell yeah,
That's the
dude.
problem. I need to find enough people that are willing to do it.
Oh shit! Did you need somebody in a bar to say Marines?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
You want a rowdy scene though, or how do you want that scene to go, bro?
Rowdy as hell.
Oh well, shit. Call the Marines. We'll make it happen.
Right. Yeah, actually, when I was driving up yesterday, I think I was passing through Arkansas, and I was like, man, I really want to get some music videos. Like, it kept hitting me, because I've been thinking about this, like I said, for 3 years, but the last 2 months, it's like, I really need to do it. Like, I need to stop saying I can do
And
it.
I
But
just
it's
asked
probably,
you about it, bro. So I think it's just, it's
yeah,
things are poking at you. We need
yeah,
that music video.
yeah. Now I know I have to because now you brought it up. But
Yeah, dude.
yeah,
Now it's just a sign, bro.
I was thinking
Yeah.
about it yesterday, and I was like, man, Clarksville's I mean, Fort Campbell's only 35 minutes from me. I was like, man, I'll just go up there and just find a company of engineers and be like, hey, y'all want to go get hammered at a bar and let me videotape it? They'd all say, fuck yeah.
Hell yeah, they would, dude. Shit.
So I was like, man, that
Say
might be on the
less.
list. Yeah. I'll buy you guys all one drink and then just
Yeah,
party.
after that, you're on your own
Yeah.
because, geez,
Yeah.
that could be a real fat ass tab.
Yeah. Or the cookout one. Be like, hey, I'll get 4 cases of beer and just come over and drink for free and party. Like, let's do
Yeah, I
this.
got the meat, bro.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's on the books, though. I hope to get that done before the new year.
Yeah, I look forward to it,
And I've
man. I
been
think
trying to plan it more. So
that's good. That's good, man. I mean, so what at the end of the day, if you could just and you're sitting back in a rocking chair, you're an old man, and you're on your front porch, what life would you have liked to see yourself live? I mean, how do you see yourself ultimately ending with this a whole career, and where would you like it to go?
yeah. Well, obviously, I'd like to sit back in a really nice rocking chair at like some mansion and be like, that was a good life, Made a
Yeah.
bunch of money, toured all my last 30 years.
But
But
hey,
I mean that,
make
yeah,
sure you trim those hedges better over there, son, bitch.
yeah, you missed a spot in the grass.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that would be like obviously anybody that does music, like as much as they say they don't care about fame or anything like that. Like they all want it. Like they wouldn't complain
Yeah.
about it, and I wouldn't complain about it. But in all honesty, and what's realistic to me in my mind is, I'd be happy if I could sit back and look and have made enough money from doing music and having enough people listen where uh, me and my wife can provide for my daughter and just be content. Like not anything bigger than we have, nothing. Just if I could make the amount of money that she makes in the Air Force and that I make currently without either of us working and just, well, I'd be working, but
Doing what you
doing
love
music.
to do, though, right?
Yeah. If I could just look back and be like, all right, I spent the last 20 years just traveling and doing music, even if it's for crowds of 100 or 1,000 people, I'd be happy because if I could do what I love for the rest of my life, I'd be happy. And that would be a success in my eyes, which is like, I mean, it's hard to do right now. Like I'm not making enough money to be supporting my family. And so
Sure.
if I was able to do that, I'd be happy and not have to be away from them. So if yeah, I mean, I don't care how many people listen to me or how much money I make. I just want to do enough and have enough people that if I go play a show, they're sitting in a bar listening to me instead of just drinking. And they like, if I go to a bar and people are just there to drink, it kind of takes away from my excitement of playing. And so if I do like a listening room thing, that's a songwriters round, everybody's watching you. Like that's amazing. If I could make the rest of my life just doing songwriter rounds and having a crowd of 200 people intently listening, I would say it was a success. And so that's all I'm looking for in the next, I don't know, how old am I now? 50 years, if I make it that long, So yeah.
I think it's manageable, man.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
if I
it
quit my
definitely
drinking habits.
well, that inspires.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking about writing a song tonight, so I was like, well, it's noon. I might as well start drinking.
Right? Get it going. Get
the
those,
juice flowing.
get
Yeah.
the whole thing flowing. You got it.
Yeah, loosen
Come
up a
out with
little
some
bit.
great song, and then tomorrow you'll be like,
wow, that was a good song.
wow, all right,
That's
a
why-
banger.
That's why I have to record them now because I drink while I'm writing, and then I'm like, sometimes I just crack a bottle of whiskey, finish it, wake up in the morning, I'm like, did I write a song? Like, what? How was that song? Go back on my phone, listen to it. I'm like, oh shit, that's a good song. Because you're not overthinking stuff at that point.
Do you ever find yourself like forgetting lyrics at any time? I mean,
God, every day.
or you just repeat? Yeah, I mean, because dude, I would.
Yeah,
I should.
yeah.
I get brain farts all the time, bro. I couldn't imagine myself sitting up. I'd be like,
Yeah.
I've probably seen the song 1,000 times and get up to the 1,001 and be like, holy shit, I forgot the whole song.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
it happens way more than I'd like it to. And it's just like, sometimes it's maybe just because I get too comfortable because it's a song I've played so many times. And it's like, I'll play the guitar and then I'll start singing and then I'll be like, crap, what's the next line? I start thinking about it while I'm singing and then I'm just out of it. I'm like, what the hell? the gig I had on Saturday night, I was playing Something to Drink About, a song I've played at every gig for the past 3 years. And I started it and I started with the second verse and I was like, what the hell did I just do? Like, why'd I do that? Like, it just immediately my brain was just like, all right, we're on the second verse. I was like, oh, crap. So I just played the
Yeah.
second one first and then the first one second, you know?
I
But
mean,
yeah,
I
that
guess in
happens.
that place, you just kind of roll with it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and most likely, if you don't react to it, no one's going to maybe catch that so
And
much.
nobody knew. And it's my song, so nobody knew. And I did
Sure.
that with the same day. I did that with Old Red. I switched some of the verses just because it's something I play at every gig. I do the cover of Old Red. And it's I don't even think about it. Like I'm usually thinking about during some of these songs, I play them so much. I'm thinking about what I'm going to play next. So I have my set list in front of me of all the songs that I want to play that night, and I'm playing the song and I'm singing it, not thinking about it at all, looking down like, all right, I'm going to play that song next. That's what my head's doing. And then I got to the break in the song where I wasn't singing anymore, and I was like, wait, I just sang the wrong verse. Like didn't even think about it. I didn't miss a beat on the verse, but I realized I was like, crap. Oh, okay. Well, I'm just gonna do that verse again because that's where it goes, you know. And that used to be like the biggest concern of mine playing live was like, what kind of musician can't remember his own lyrics? What kind of like who needs to like look at words while they're singing? And then I started deep diving into these interviews, and Brooks and Dunn was talking, and it's been 30 years of them playing shows, and he has his
That
lyrics
earpiece.
in
Yeah.
his ears. So he's singing along with the lyrics so he doesn't mess them up. And he was like, I'll mess them up. And then I look around at these shows and I hear these other interviews of like huge name artists who that's your profession. I'm like, I thought once you're at that level, like you can't mess up. You can't afford to mess up. And you see them mess up. They talk about missing their words. They just make up some random words. And then they have a teleprompter. Most of them have a teleprompter on the ground. It's like, okay, like I don't feel so bad anymore. Like everybody has that issue because sometimes you just do it so much. It's like, and it's so many songs, so you might mix up two of them. So I'm like, all right, this is not that bad. So now I have an iPad with my set list on it, and I'll click on I put the songs on a PowerPoint and I put a hyperlink on it. I click on it and read the first line, and I'm like, once I'm in the first line, I'm good. But sometimes I'll be playing it, and I'm like, crap, what is the first line of that song? You know? And so I'll click on it and be like, all right, that's the first line, and then I start up and it's all good to go. So and once I realized that people do that, or they have a lot of artists, if not all of them, have like the first line of the verse spoken to them as it starts, so they make sure they're on the right verses. And so I was like, all right, life's not that bad, you know. I'm not, because that was like the imposter syndrome thing setting in. Like, all right, I don't belong to be up here. I can't play if I can't remember the songs. Not the deal. So it's not that bad.
Man, I tell you though, I don't know, man. I mean, do you still get really nervous in front of people, or you kind of that you've shook that, or is it always like you get nervous until you start playing?
It depends on the gig, and honestly, I get super nervous and like not even ready to start singing. Like the first song I do at a place where there's not that many people and I know they're not listening, I'm super nervous because I'm like, if I mess this up, they're gonna leave. They're not listening, and if they do start listening, they're like, that sucks. Like that's all in my mind.
Yeah,
Or I'm like, I gotta make sure this is so good that they stop talking to each other and they turn and like listen to me. Like I want to grab their attention. So I'm freaking out. But the times I played for big crowds, I wasn't nervous at all, which is awesome. But I thought it was gonna be the opposite. I was like, man, I get this nervous at a brewery with 6 people in it. How am I gonna play for a huge crowd? And I did the listening room, and it was a sold out show, 200 people. There's 200 seats in there, and I started the show, and so I was like, oh crap. Like I should be nervous, but I'm not that nervous. And I got up there and I just started playing, and it was like it's something about people like they're listening to you, and I just had more confidence, and I think I sang better than I ever had because I wasn't nervous. And then when I went and opened up for Chris Young, it was more people than I've ever played for, I think. And I looked out and I walked on stage and I was just amped up, like hell yeah, like I'm doing this thing, this is awesome, not nervous at all. So some reason the small gigs where nobody's listening and I know it's not a big deal, like I could butcher it, there's people that go and play that aren't that good before me, those are the ones that get me the most because I'm like, man, my whole goal is to find, like, if I can get 3 people to turn around and like my music in a crowd that's not listening to me, I've succeeded. So like the whole time I'm playing, I'm like, if I can get, like, that's all I'm thinking about. And so I'm just nervous the whole time. Like they didn't clap at that song. They didn't look at me during this song. Those songs weren't their catch. And like, it's as soon as I get that little bit of gratification, I'm like, all right. And then the whole show's great after that. Like, I don't worry about it. And once my nerves are gone, I'm not like freaking out singing anymore. It's just like getting into it and have more fun. So yeah, I definitely get nervous, but the big shows, not at all, which is weird. It's just like, all right, this is the job. Let's do this thing.
And then do you get energy from the crowd as well? Like,
Definitely. Yeah. Like in the same instance, like I've had a lot of people tell me like my energy on stage, my stage presence is phenomenal. And then I think about that when I'm at these small gigs and I'm like, man, I'm just sitting here in a chair in the corner of a bar, just singing. I'm like, I know I have no energy right now. Like as long as nobody claps, I'm not even talking to the crowd. I'm like, well, there's nothing, like, I'm not going to interact. They're not interacting with me.
There's no interaction.
Yeah. And then the next day, when I was in Louisiana, the next day, after a gig that was like that, where people didn't even acknowledge me the whole time I was playing. And I was just like sitting there like, oh, okay, just get this over with, get this whole show over with. The next day we had a full band gig and I walked out on stage and we started rocking and I grabbed the mic and I'm talking to the crowd. I'm like, yeah, how y'all doing? And just like, it changes everything. As soon as you hear people cheering, everything changes. I'm running around stage, hitting the drums. If I'm playing with full band, I hit the cymbals with my microphone. I broke my microphone the last gig I did it at because I'm like,
you get carried away over there, bro.
Just running around introducing everybody. Like I go wild if everybody's giving me energy back. I kind of match energy. So if anybody's cheering, I'm up there like ready to go. But when it's silent, I'm like, well, I'm gonna be that boring guy in the corner because nobody wants to hear me talk. They're not here to listen to me talk until they give me energy. And I'm like, all right, well, here, I wrote this song about this. Like, what's up? So it's one of those. Awesome. One of those things.
Yeah, definitely. Man. Well, hey, dude. So, what do you got going for the future? Are you what's your main plan right now? I know you're gonna put these songs together. I mean, you gonna just keep pushing out songs? I mean, what's your next big push?
Yeah. So currently, get these songs out. Hopefully by the new year. Whether I space them, I still haven't decided if I'm going to space them out or put them in the EP or take 6 that are alike, put those in the EP. Those in the EP. I just had a weird accent there. Those in the EP, and then to throw the others out as singles because sometimes that's better. And I want those to be heard. But once that's done, I'm trying to book and get where I have 6 months of full band gigs where I could just be on the road for 6 months, call my band back up from Louisiana, and just travel and then do 6 months on the road, 6 months off. And if I can just have enough people show up where it's worth me up there on stage playing, I'd be happy. So that's my goal right now for the next year and the next 5 years is just get as many shows as I can and start touring.
We got to get you to play at a Hero Stock.
Yeah. I talked about it last year. I forgot what I had. I had something going on. So he said definitely next year.
Yeah, dude, 2024.
Yeah. So I
plan on being there. That way I can meet you too, bro.
Shoot. Yeah. I plan on being there for that. But yeah, I forgot what was going on during when was it? It was
September.
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, I was here. That's why. And so we knew I was going to be coming here. But yeah, so yeah, next year I plan on being there because it looked like an awesome time. I mean, I was watching everybody. I was looking at everything on Facebook. I was like, I'm mad I missed it. But
yeah, one of those things you don't want to miss out.
Yeah, if I can get a way to get out there, like there's no way I would have been able to afford getting out there this time. But from Nashville and stuff with everything else going on. But if I can, my plan is just if I have it in my books, then I can plan for it and actually have like flights and stuff and not have to worry about that. So.
Yeah, don't worry, man. We'll put you in touch with Jason Steiner. We'll get it all worked out. Make sure you're at 2024.
Yeah. I plan on it if it still happens. Unless awesome. Unless I mess up something in life and I get canceled and then.
Jason's like, that's rough, man. It's not. It's not very hard to get canceled, dude. So,
I know,
especially being a veteran.
I started watching everything I do. I'm like, crap, I can't make any mistakes if people are out.
I know, man. On your social media, you gotta watch it. What you respond to, how you say it. It just gets weird when you start getting to a certain level where you're like, all eyes on you.
I started letting my wife run everything, so she has all my passwords. So I'll look at it every now and then, and she'll tell me like what's going on, but she posts everything for me because I'm not good at that, and I'm not posting.
Yeah, that's good. Right.
She's yelling at me like, "You need to make more videos. I don't have anything else to post." I'm like, I don't have time. Like, I'm not gonna make
Reels,
one.
bro. You got to make them little 3-second, 4-second reels, man.
That's what she keeps telling me. But I got in an argument with somebody and started going in on them, and I was drinking at the time, and I just like made a huge rant on these comments, and then she deleted it, and then I made another rant, and she deleted it, and then I made it just every time she deleted it, I made it worse and worse and worse, and then she was like, "You can't have that out there. You're gonna get like you just told him you were gonna kill him," and I was like, "I didn't say that. I maybe." And like, I was like, I didn't necessarily say that.
She's your public relations person, so
she's good at that. So I ended up, she was like, just let it go. I was like, fine, whatever, and so it's not my place. So I just hope I don't get canceled. Yeah.
You would have been canceled already if it wasn't her.
100%. I say a lot of dumb stuff and a lot of things.
Yeah, don't worry, we all do. Yeah. So I'm surprised my show's made it this far.
Yeah, I was gonna try not to cuss, and I realized like I kept slipping up. I was like, "Crap, don't do that,
Don't worry, you're on a Marine show, bro. I just
Yeah, see, good.
Fuck is my favorite word, so it slips out. I know there's probably some people out there like, oh gosh, I'm changing this shit.
Yeah, well, good.
Well, then you're probably not my person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't want to listen to veterans talk, then.
Yeah, because we might use a little bit of some colorful words here and there.
Yeah,
and joke around.
That's how I know if somebody's actually a veteran or if they just went to ROTC. It's on their language,
Yeah, absolutely, bro. You can definitely tell the difference.
Yeah,
and the ones that like get all offended by some joke that we just like are, and everybody just like,
wow, I can't believe you said that. Like,
wow,
of course I fucking said that.
We can't hang out with him no more.
Yeah, I've met some people like that where I'm like, yeah, I'm just offending these people, and they start talking about gun laws and stuff. I'm like,
yeah, I just quickly realized, like, yeah, you're probably not my cup of tea, honestly. So it is what it is.
We're just not friends anymore. See ya.
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna surround my people with like people I like.
Let me go over here and shoot some guns.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, Schaefer. Well, hey, man, is there anything else? I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and talking about what you got going on. Is there any I forgot or any last minute things you want to say?
I don't think so. I think we talked about it a lot. So I really appreciate you having me on and letting me talk about my music. So hopefully if I can get a few more listeners, I'm happy. Hopefully people that like me come over and listen to you guys.
So yeah, plug yourself out, man. I mean, how does everybody go find you on Spotify and Apple and all the places to go download your music? Let's go plugging away.
Yeah, so this is what I've been practicing to get better at because my wife says I'm really bad at it. I just say, hey, go follow me on this shit. My name's my name. That doesn't work, I guess. No, so go follow me,
bro. Potato head
on
style.
Facebook, Spotify, iTunes, Apple, wherever you get your music. Now I seem like at the end of the podcast. You follow us on here, wherever you get the end, But yeah, pretty much everything except for X. I never was a Twitter guy, so I'm not on there, I don't think. But Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you can listen to music on anywhere that you can get your music. And my name is, I didn't change it at all for the stage. So it's Schaefer Mueller. So if you see the header of this, you can help you spell it because I still misspelled my own name. It's a hard, dumb name. But everything Schaefer Mueller on every, luckily I have a pretty unique name where nobody else has it on Instagram or Facebook. So I don't have to do @1 or 27 or anything like that. So it works out for me.
He's the OG.
Yeah. So I think Facebook, Instagram, they're both Schaefer Mueller Music.
And go to Linktree. I mean, he has a Linktree. I checked out his Linktree, and you could find almost everything right there. Even some of his podcasts that he's been on. So
yeah, this one will get added on there too. So yeah, and SchaeferMuellerMusic.com, I believe, is the website. I had a different one with the whole band, but I made one without the band. So if you go to the website, you can also find everything on there.
Perfect, bro. Well, hey, everybody go check out Schaefer Mueller Music.
Yes.
Go download it on every platform. Even if you got it on one, just give them a little help and get it on the other too.
Yeah, if you're cleaning the house or you're about to leave the house, turn it on repeat for your dogs and your cats and let them listen to it while you're gone. Every stream counts.
There you go. I love it. All right, brother. Well, hey, man, it's been a good one, and I appreciate you, like I said, taking your time. Thank you for your service to our country, and I love your music. Keep rocking it, bro. And I hope one day I'll either have backstage passes,
Of
or
course.
I'll be out there in the front row seat, like with a sign. I know you.
If I see you, I'm gonna pull you up on stage, and
Yeah, bro.
it'll be awesome. The next big arena tour I do.
You might need a little help to pull me up on that bitch, but
I work out.
all right, brother. Well,
I appreciate
like
it,
I said,
man.
thank you, man. All right, we'll see you. All right, friends and fam. Well, hey, that wraps up number 50, and I still make mistakes. As you see, I pulled them right back in. But hey, I really want to just end this show with letting everybody know thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for taking the time, watching the show, listening to all these great guests that I've had on and all their stories. And please, go out there, support, the guests that I have had on. It doesn't cost anything just to go download their songs, like their music, share it with your friends. All that stuff helps them get out there in the algorithm world and all that stuff. But just keep plugging away, and don't forget about Every Day's a Saturday. We're not going to go away. We will reconvene back in January 9th, 2024. Since we started January 9th, 2023. So what better way to start it, So I'm hoping everybody has great holidays. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving, a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. I will still be doing some other shows. You're going to still see Wacky Wednesdays from time to time. I think we might start slowing that one down, but Conspiracy Fridays will still be here as well. So I'm not going away completely. And like I said, appreciate each and every one of you. Continue to listen to the show. Go get it caught up as much as you can. And stay blessed. Until next time.